How do they do it? Why do they do it? Riding and crashing and riding and winning and always faster and faster and faster.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to With Anton MotoGP 2025. Well, we're right in the middle of the Assen TT round 10, and there seems to be a lot more action off the track than there is on the track. The sprint's pretty well gone to plan. Probably the most exciting result there, and the best thing for Aprilia at the moment is that Bezzecchi got to third, which was great. But what's happened to the sprints? I also want to talk about that a little bit. Then we'll get on to the news with Jorge Martin. Ducati, 24 sprints in a row. Wow, that's pretty good. But what happened to the sprint? I remember when it first came in, it was so exciting. Riders were going to be able to go for a broke. But really, what we're seeing is it's just 12 laps of qualifying. That's basically what the sprint's turned into. Go as fast as you can, but don't risk anything because there's not enough points. I don't know. I think maybe some changes. I think Liberty are going to get on board. They want a show. They don't want just a procession. And I think, for me, a couple of suggestions. One, look at the points that are awarded for winning. I think the current point system is not rewarding. And two, the sprint maybe can form the grid for the main Grand Prix. Just a couple of things that we can think about, because the sprint has gone from what was going to be the most exciting thing to come to MotoGP to now something that's really not really doing a great deal to excite the crowd and excite those who are watching the race. Let's talk about the hot topic. The hot topic for discussion is, yep, you've guessed it, Jorge Martin. Albert Laverner, his manager, spoke to the Dorna World feed, said he's free to sign. He's a free rider and he can sign. Now, what the clear delineation here is that he's not breaking a contract, he is following a contract. Now, we've talked about this clause, this get out clause, this performance clause that Jorge Martin has in his contract with Aprilia. He only wanted to sign for 1 year. They wanted him for 2. So he said, okay, let's put a clause in. By round 5, if I'm not in the top few of the championship, I can decide whether I want to ride for next year. Now, that's exactly what he's done. Rivola, of course, has got a different opinion. But Aprilia is acting a little bit like the jilted lover here. I don't want you to leave me. I'm not going to let you leave me. You're not going to leave me. And Rivola, yet again, is now saying, well, if I need to, I'll take him to court. Well, Rivola, the amount of mismanagement from the Aprilia management in this season of MotoGP blows my mind. I can't understand what they're doing here. With Anton MotoGP, we support the riders. You take away the riders, you've got nothing. You can have all the teams, you can have the best bikes, but without those guys going on the bikes, you've got nothing. So this is exactly what we need to do. Now, Liberty Media are starting in a couple of days, 1 July. Now, are you telling me that Liberty Media don't want Jorge Martin on the grid next year? I mean, Carmelo, Espeleta, I'm not going to register a rider that hasn't sought the contract out. Trust me, it's going to be sorted out. Now, where he goes, we've speculated on that, and you can give me your thoughts. But yet again, I don't know exactly what the problem is. He signed a contract. He had a get-out clause, a performance-based clause. Look, you know what? If they hadn't mismanaged Sepang, put the old tyre on and sent him out, they haven't mismanaged him getting back on the super motard. They hadn't mismanaged him trying to complete a full race weekend in Qatar, then we wouldn't be here. We would not be in this position where Rivola would be doing and saying what he's doing. And of course, when we were talking to Alberto Puig at HRC, he summed it up. Now, I haven't got a lot of time for Alberto Puig, I think you know from my previous comments, but what did he say? We talk to riders, we do not talk to teams. So anyway, that's where we are. We're about to head into the Grand Prix race. So we're going to drop straight back in here later and we're going to talk about the race. So the 100th Racing Grand Prix, Assen TT, has been run and won. Marc Márquez, what a masterclass. Bagnaia jumped off early, got the lead. Quartararo fell like a stone to the back of the grid. Good racing by Bezzecchi, got up to second place over the line. And Mr. Go Free, he's got a bit of life left in him, managed to put it on the box to finish third. But, you know, the story, Rivola can't even make a positive story out of the race. And I just really can't understand why this is not the perfect time for Aprilia to say, you know what? We've got a guy finishing on the podium. We got our number one rider. We're happy. We're moving on. Let's let the other guys do whatever want. Yes, we had a masterclass from Marc Márquez. From, early on, lap 23, he put the hammer down and he escaped. He was never going to be beaten on that. Like KTM certainly improved. Acosta. Well, let's talk about Acosta and the loser. The biggest loser of the Grand Prix at Assen was Marquez. Unfortunately, tussling with Acosta, he hit his front brake lever and down he went, slam on the tarmac, broken hand. From what I understand, left hand fracture. He's off to surgery. So that's unfortunate for Alex, but that's what happens when you drop back. We saw Morbidelli doing his classic, you're not going to pass me with Digi. Ended up with a long lap penalty. And of course, you know, Yamaha going nowhere. They just going nowhere. Jack Miller, I don't know. Oliveira. If anyone can find a crash in a MotoGP, it's Oliveira. And HRC, well, Zarco, I think he finished around about 12th. So the weekend has been run and won. Marc Márquez walks away with a podium number one in the sprint, podium number one in the Grand Prix. Bezzecchi second in the Grand Prix, third in the sprint. And Bagnaia, Mr. Go Free, well, maybe he won't have to retire after all because maybe there's a future there. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. It seems to me that there's more action off the track than on the track. And really, what's Rivola going to do? Is Aprilia going to sort this matter out? Like, let's move forward, Aprilia. Aprilia Racing, be positive. You got a guy on the box in the sprint and a guy on the box in the Grand Prix. So let's move forward. Anyway, drop down below what you think is going to happen with Jorge Martin. And drop down below what you think about the race. And really, with Marquez breaking his hand, is the championship over? I'd love to know your thoughts. Anyway, thanks for listening this week, and I'll see you soon.